Right, I'm here at the now closed down HMP Northallerton, and this building in front of us now, I believe, was the old gatehouse. I can't see the building behind it, but when I get right over side so I can get a better view, I can explain to you what's what. In fact, I think old gatehouse is right other side. I just can't get my bearings without it having a wall round it, if you get me drift. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk round and tell my story, what's what, and then I'll try and show you, when I get my bearings on the prison itself, what bit's what. As you can see, they're building new extensions onto it and all sorts, and I'm guessing that building there will have been, well, it's in half hard to get my bearings on this because they're built all round it. Now, this place was built in 1783 and it housed 252 prisoners. A lot think it was a good nick. It was good in since screws left you alone. They were content for you to get stoned out of your tree and leave them alone. But I'm not here about leaving anybody alone. They decided to close it on 1st of November 2013. Ministry of Justice announced in September closure of the prison as part of a modernisation programme. Modernisation programme. Yeah. So they categorised prisons. This was categorised as too much work needing to keep it open, really. It was too expensive. So it was closed. But because it's got protected status, they've decided to renovate it and do tours on it. So council make a few bob off it. He said he knew why it had to close. This bloke was a bit emotional, a David Kerfoot, member of the prison monitoring board, said it was an emotional day when it closed. He said he knew why it was closing, so that just proves my point about the conditions in this place. All the cells were way too small, way too small. They weren't even big enough as a single pad. So God knows why they thought they could keep 2 prisoners in, but then again it's 2 prisoners. Now this place was overrun. It was overrun with mice. We used to have to trap. I was on high wing, I believe it was. That was when I was on in machine shop. I was on A wing, which was sewing machine repair shop. Then I went on to visits hardly, and they moved me down onto I wing, which was a brilliant little wing. And as I say, it was a really good wing. I'm going to have to walk around this nick in a minute and see if I find some better views on this nick. But it would overrun with mice. So we had to trap as jeans indoor when we banged up on a night so mice couldn't get underneath. Some of the lads used to put a spoon in vent up near the ceiling and poke an hole through with a brush or a mop and put stuff on, and mice used to hang down and feed off them. On this high wing, all lads used to go up onto it. Were like in loft, be like fives, only there weren't 5 landings, but it were up in 5s where the telly room was. Because it were only a pokey wing, all wing were open at the same time. Now on this wing at time, there was a lifer called Lithe, L-I-T-H. And what he'd actually done, he'd put a baby in a tumble dryer. So anyway, he got lifed up. Well, on Thursday night, everybody were in the telly room watching Top of Pops, and it was my turn to go fill a 2-pint jug up with hot, boiling coffee with loads of sugar in for me and my mate Frenchie. I believe Frenchie were from Liverpool. So anyway, he had a big wine stain on half of his face, Frenchie. Great good lad. So anyway, he kept my chair and I run down to Wands to get the water. And while I was filling it up, I saw Lithe going into showers. So I got the coffee, I went straight up, straight in showers, and I threw it straight up his back and dodged back up into the telly room. Mate says, "Where's coffee?" I said, "Coffee's off." Then all screw started ushering us down to bang us up, because Lithe was screaming. And as we were coming down, they were bringing him out on a stretcher, face down, with a water blister on his back, full size of his back. I was really proud that I'd done that. No. SMR shop, that's where they mended sewing machines, mainly Singer. They had a machine shop as well, where they did shirts and jeans and stuff like that. Like I say, I were on Visits Orderly after machine shop, and that was a brilliant job. Them days, you had currency in your pocket, and the highest coin was a 50p piece. So what they used to do, lads would smuggle £20 notes in, or get me to smuggle them in, because I was Visits Orderly. It was easier for me, and it was easier for me to buy them off them, which is what I did. I'd leave the 20s in Visits room, and then I passed them back out, and a mate of mine put them in bank for me. I left all drug smuggling to screws. They used to smuggle mainly weed. They preferred it quiet. Everybody stoned out of the trees. That's how they liked it. After we took off roofs in likes of strange ways, Wymot and Preston, that were over conditions, and yeah, it took this prison right up to 2013 to actually act on bad conditions in this place. We took all roofs off and had to go through all riots, and lads got big sentences on top of sentences. Some were even due out. Next thing, they're in a riot on Strange Ways roof. Next thing they know, they're serving a 10-year sentence on top. Mark Robinson, leader of District Council here in prison, Northallerton, I mean, has found evidence that Northallerton was one of the last nicks in the country to have the treadmill, where the convicts walk the wheel for their daily bread. This prison also baked bread for surrounding town. Hence bread and water punishment. I suppose in them times that's basically all they got. Bread and water, soup, crap soup at that. But I know Lincoln were one at last nicks to have wheel as well, and Lincoln was the last prison in country to abolish the privacy hood. You had to wear a privacy hood, so you couldn't talk to the person next to you. A bit like them nuns, or I think they are, or somebody wear them. They only abolished wheel here in 1898 when Prison Act of 98 came out. So I'm going to try and walk round now and get a better view at Nick for you, and so you'll have to just bear with me, because as you can see it's a massive building site. When I worked on the gardens here, because after visits, my last 8 weeks, Screw said they were putting me out on gardens because of the prison pallet I had. Alright mate, just doing a documentary on old Nick. I've served in here. YouTube mate, Arthur Taylor. I do police and prison corruption. Like and subscribe mate, you'll find it very interesting. Arthur Taylor. I've got Bill for my intro. Yeah, and looks like I'm going to get a better view, and I'll be able to describe it to you a bit more in detail. But it's just weird, you know, seeing no wall around it, and these extra bits add onto it, and that G4D eye stuck right on top. What's that all about? Well, there you go, that's part of it as well. I can't go in obviously, but because it's literally a building site. If that's Gatehouse, where that man says it was, then that building there that's straight there in front, the upstairs of that was the visits room, and then he came through the door at this end, and he came onto wing. Alright mate, just
what was this?
old prison mate.
Was it? Oh right.
Yeah, and I'm here doing a documentary on it.
Yeah right.
Because I exposed prison corruption, and I've served in this as a prison.
Have you really?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, of course. I'm just thinking, I remember mate coming. We went to local record shop years ago. We're coming in, and I think it was still operating then. So that's how long ago.
Yeah, well, it closed in 2013.
Yeah, right.
This is one of the last nicks in country to have the wheel, the treadmill. Where convicts had to walk the wheel.
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
And privacy huts.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they're digging somewhere on here now, and they actually found evidence of that wheel. When it reopens, Wings will be supposedly as the war, and they're doing tours with it.
Yeah.
Because it's protected building, They can't flatten it and put a Tesco's up.
Yeah.
They've decided it'll be quite lucrative for them to do tours and let council have money off it.
Right. So what are they
When I
taking
was a
offices and
prisoner,
apartments?
when I was a prisoner here, I worked in visits. I used to smuggle money in, and then on last 8 weeks they put me out on gardens, and walking back on gardens, we had to walk on road, right? They grew all veg on garden all day and everything. Sent it all off at Nick's. That's up here somewhere. And walking back, we had to walk back on road like on here, to abreast. And I could see all lads walking over what I knew to be a wallet. Now these are convicts, think on. They thought Screw had seen them. When I got to it, I swooped down on it, picked it up, opened it up, and I thought the Screw had seen me. So I just carried on looking through it. Writing ID place on it was the Chief Inspector of Northallerton's ID badge. And his face in uniform with his hat and everything on. Listen to this, it gets even better, mate. And he was Chief Inspector Arthur Taylor, Northallerton Police.
Okay.
My name's Arthur Taylor. Two total opposites. Convict. So I handed it in. And a week later, that inspector and the Screw that did it in back decided it was all right to smuggle tobacco in. If you go read the sign on the wall, tobacco's mentioned. If you smuggle tobacco or drugs or anything in to a prisoner, you're nicked. So they all of a sudden abandoned that and decided it was all right and brought me 2 ounces of tobacco off it. Yeah, good.